Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
I'm Richard.
And I'm Annette.
And we are talking about health, happiness, and Pilates. The
Yay.
love and passion of Pilates.
Yay.
Because we have
See my bracelet?
What does it say?
It says, do Pilates, do life.
There we go. Do Pilates, do life. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers all.
And we are drinking something
So
very
here's a really
sustainable.
interesting wine
Richard's going to tell us.
from all the way down in Patagonia,
Mm.
south of Sonora in southern Arizona. And it's a wonderful couple, really interesting people. They've been doing this since 22. So this is their first vintage, 22.
Queen of Cups.
Queen of Cups, yeah,
It's a cool name.
it is. It's a tarot card.
I did not know it's a tarot card. Did you guys know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it means it's feminine, very feminine, and yeah.
And where is
Okay,
this
so my
from?
favorite thing on this or about this wine is it tells you can return the bottle so they can
Yeah.
use it again.
It's a reusable
that's
bottle.
nice,
You
yes.
see, it doesn't have a
I
cork.
like
it
it.
has a cap, like a bottle cap, and then you can but then you return it to where you bought it. Like I got this at a faraway wine, so I'll take the bottle back there, and they would see that it gets back to the wine.
Does the wine store for as long of a period without being corked? Or does that affect it?
You got to drink it.
Okay.
I'm just
Of course,
kidding.
you can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you had a bottle of that capped like that versus a bottle that's corked properly, would the corked one preserve longer?
Well, does this
That's
preserve
cork.
it like a regular
That's
cork
cork.
does?
Yeah, that's the question.
Screw caps last just as long, if not longer, than corks.
Okay,
Interesting.
so it is a cork.
It's
Look
a
at it.
cork.
It
It's
is.
not a
That's
cork.
cool.
It's not a
It's
cork,
old
it's a
school.
cap.
Well, it's kind of like one. It's plastic
Just a
cork.
seal, yeah.
It's not real cork,
But it
it's,
reseals. Bingo, okay?
It's-
Yeah,
it-
so
it has
you
a
don't
good
drink
seal.
out
But so if
of
there's
that.
no advantage to the cork, why doesn't every winery move over to bottles like this then?
well, this is awareness. Because we're here saving the planet
One
One
shot at a
shot
time.
at a
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's exciting. Annette Johnson's here with us, and she discovered Pilates, maybe 8 years ago?
Yeah, about 8 years ago.
And we want to hear your story
Let me
of
tell
why.
you just a little bit more about
Oh,
this wine.
okay, let's go back to the
want
wine.
to hear about the
Because
wine. I
Let's
want to
go back
know
to the
where it's
story.
grown.
So,
and
this couple,
Okay.
this guy named Emmett and her name is Lily.
Mm-hmm.
And Emmett started as a cellar hand on the left bank of Bordeaux at 17 years old. So and then he's worked in Mendoza, Argentina, Riobaixa and Galicia in Spain, and then he came back to southern Arizona. He worked assistant winemaker at Rune Wines. He was the cellar master at Pillsbury Wine.
Wow.
Yeah, and then in 21 they started the Queen of Cups winery.
It's actually delicious. What are we tasting here? How would you describe it?
what kind of wine is it? Or
So
grape?
this is here's the interesting thing, really interesting
tell you.
thing about this. And I lost the tag that was attached to it. I'm sorry, I had all the names of the grapes and everything.
Well, that's important. What is it? Can you look that up while we
Well, it
start
doesn't
talking
tell
about your
you. No,
Pilates?
it's not on the website, this wine. But anyway,
Okay.
so it's a field blend. Now here's what a field blend is. A field blend is where you have several varieties of grapes all planted in the same vineyard. And just maybe one row of this, one row of that, and it's all in the same vineyard. And you pick them all at once and ferment them all at once.
Okay.
So this has like 6 grapes in it. As I recall, there was
So you call the so
What?
if it's not that, it's called a single varietal.
well, most wines are the whole vineyard is a single varietal.
Okay.
This is a vineyard with all these different varietals mixed up together in
Okay.
one vineyard.
Interesting.
And so you harvest them all, and in this case, they come in. So there's like 3 reds and 3 whites in this blend.
Interesting.
And a field blend is a really old thing
Wow.
that they do. So you get all these wines, and so the wines are brought in. They get a cold soak overnight. Then they're pressed and fermented, but
And the alcohol content's only like 10%.
10.4, yeah.
So it's very low in
And
alcohol,
so
which is nice.
we've
Yeah.
got we've got Grenache in here, I know, and Merlot, and there's some I can't remember, a bunch of Viognier. There's 3 reds and 3 whites, 6 different grapes. Now here's the deal. This guy.
So Queen of Cups makes sense.
Yeah. So the vineyard. This is a small family-owned
Cheers.
vineyard.
Cheers.
Okay. This is a small family-owned vineyard down in southern Arizona. The guy has worked as in the wine, in the vineyards. He's a vineyard guy for years. He and his wife, they're Mexican. So every time he prunes during the spring, he'll take some stalks and plant them in his vineyard. So over the years, he's got these 6 different varietals that he's put in his. It's only a small 2-acre vineyard, right?
I love it.
Yeah, and that's where they get the wine for this. The grapes for this wine.
It's that small, only 2 acres?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would assume you would need at least 10 acres or something to have a winery. That's interesting.
How many barrels
Well,
do you
no,
get
this
out
is
of
not
2
the only.
acres?
No, this is only for this wine.
Oh, okay.
Only this wine only. So it's a small production, obviously.
Yeah.
But
So what's the minimum amount of acres to have a winery? 2 acres then, or?
you can make wine from.
Can I have an acre? Can I make wine?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. I want to
Yeah,
call it
you can
Kinga.
grow wine.
So question.
But
question.
this is here's their philosophy. Right
Mine could be
here.
called Kinga of Cups.
Yeah. Here's their philosophy. This
Not
is
Queen of Cups,
this is
King of
this is
Cups.
what they do. Artisanal, clean, low intervention wines. That describes what they do perfectly.
I don't understand that.
Okay. Artisanal. You understand that?
Yeah, I'm just teasing.
Okay. Clean,
Yes.
low intervention. Okay. Wines. That's
I
what
love
they
it.
do. This is
So they're very-
calling these natural wines.
They're
these
green.
days,
They're
too.
really green.
They're not green.
Well, they're
Oh, yeah,
sustainable.
they're green. Yeah.
They're sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And,
clean. It's non-toxic. It's
Yeah.
sustainable, and it's the Queen of Cups, and we love it.
Delicious.
So I'll pour
Really
myself
nice.
a little more. I like it so much. Here we go.
Native yeast.
Mm.
The whole deal.
Annette, can I pour you some more?
No, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So-
say yes,
We're
but I
good.
Well,
So that's the story on this. And
well, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Richard Betts is our wine guru. He's kind of a professional wino,
Yeah, yeah.
and he does some wine judging and wine books and all this, and he's very interesting. And I always thank you for finding this for us. I've never tried. So is the actual winery called Queen of
Yeah,
Cups? Okay. So okay, that one's okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
do they
It is
have a
very fun.
tasting room?
Yes, they do down in Patagonia, which is this little town. It's really cool. I've been there once or twice. It's south of Sonoita, so pretty close to the border. Patagonia. It's kind of
Patagonia.
an arty
I
little
just
town.
realized, I was keep trying to taste it and find out what I think the flavor profiles are. And I realized I brushed my teeth right before
Oh,
this.
no,
I was like,
no.
why?
You're done.
I knew.
Yeah, I know,
we were
literally.
doing
Yeah, I
so.
was so confused. What is this aftertaste that's going on? And then I realized this is for sure the toothpaste still.
Well,
Yeah,
can I tell you what I taste? I taste cranberry.
Good.
I taste a little
yeah,
bit.
it's like tart fruits that
Yes.
collide with toothpaste.
Yes,
Yeah,
I taste
exactly.
cranberry and I taste cherry.
I taste cherry.
I definitely taste tart cherry
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of lemon custard.
I love the color. It's an
And-
I was about to
overnight-
say it's a very pretty color in the
overnight
glass.
soak, so they're really extracting some color.
And I taste a little bit of watermelon.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you got 6 different grapes in here, so there's a very complex,
Can I tell you, I went to the Robert Plant concert. This relates to wine. I went to Robert Plant
Yeah,
a
I
few
know.
nights
I
ago.
was there.
Oh, you were there too. I forgot about that. You were there too with your friend Randy. And I was there with Dr. Diane. And the next day we went to the Merkin Vineyard. And they have this beautiful new facility, this beautiful new restaurant up on
Wait,
the-
did you authentically forget that you saw Richard there? That was 4
No,
days ago.
no,
I was
no.
about to say.
No.
I need to take you to a neurologist if you forgot that in 4 days.
No. So anyway, so the reason I'm bringing it up is I was trying to describe this wine and what I taste, and we drank the Shinola up at Merkin, and this is how they describe. Listen to all these. They describe that particular wine that we drank as ruby red grapefruit, honeydew melon, baked Granny Smith apples
Yeah.
with lemon, cinnamon, nutmeg, as well as mulberries, cranberries, raspberries, and cherries.
What a mix.
That's a lot.
Wow.
I didn't
That's a
taste
lot.
a lot of those
Well,
things, but
that's
that was
the
how they
thing.
described
Well,
this
you
one
never do.
wine.
It's everybody's palate is different.
That's
Exactly,
right. This is
exactly.
the issue I have with all these flowery descriptions. The
Yes.
average person reads that and says, "Oh shit, I don't taste that. I guess I don't like wine." It puts them off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I get
Oh,
all
I do.
excited. I
Yeah,
try
you
to
do, but
imagine
you're
tasting.
not the average
I'm like, I
person.
picture the
I think it can
Yeah, I
be.
do the
I think it
same
can be
thing.
fun.
It
I-
is
yeah.
fun.
It's fun.
close
I
my
love it.
eyes,
Yeah, I think
love
it's
it.
fun,
Taste,
yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And now that I just read that, I taste raspberries in this.
I don't know. It depends
Well, there's a
on
lot
the
of flavors.
raspberry.
This is a complex wine because we've got 6 different grapes.
Well,
and
it's
all these
gushing with
flavor
fruit
profiles.
flavors. It's gushing
Yeah.
with fruit flavors.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
It's wonderful.
And it has the
Really is.
backbone of minerality.
Yeah, it's got some good balance, some acidity, and
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for picking this. I mean,
It's an unusual wine. That's why.
what
I
does
like
this
it.
cost if I was going to buy it?
$20.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
At Far Away.
Wow.
I don't know anything about Arizona wines because I'm from
Well, it's-
California.
yeah.
Well, that's why we chose it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we realized you just moved here
Yeah.
Right.
from
Well,
California.
And that it's a huge industry here now, very dynamic
I'm
industry.
starting to notice that. Yeah.
In the last 30 years has gained worldwide attention.
That's wonderful.
It's really considered.
And that's why we're
yeah.
welcome to Arizona.
Welcome to
Thank you.
Arizona.
Oh,
Cheers.
yeah.
Annette
Cheers
Johnson
again.
she just moved here.
Yeah, that's
She
great.
just moved here, and
Yeah.
she is a
And of
Pilates
course,
instructor.
Yeah, let's
Right.
get into that.
And we want to hear your kind of, just tell us a little bit of your background, whatever you want to reveal.
Well,
How you got into it.
let's go way back, okay? Because
Sure.
I was always very athletic. I was a swimmer, I was a gymnast, and I was a
Oh.
dancer. And as a dancer, ballet, you learn total control of your body, total
Sure.
control of pain. Everything is stamina, and so that becomes part of who you are as a person. So
I did not know you were a
fast-
ballerina, but now I see it.
fast forward.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fast forward, and I have all these aches and pains as a 20-year-old. Back
Mm.
pain, shoulder,
Mm.
From being a ballerina?
gymnast too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you're just hyperextending and you're overusing and you're working through pain, so you just don't realize what is going on until later. And then in my late 20s, I started having back problems. And that kind of continued into my 30s, and then I started having injections in my back,
Mm.
and that's like the worst. You don't
Well, like
want to do
cortisol.
that.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So your back, it was really serious back problems
I-
if you were
it-
having
it would
injections.
happen every once in a while.
Okay.
So with me, I think it happens with stress, or like we moved across the country, and the day before we moved, of course, my back went out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
got it.
So it's just
Yeah.
stuff like that. I
Mhm.
think it's life things, and you carry stuff wherever you carry it. Shoulders, back, IBS, whatever it is that you have, you feel it wherever you feel it. Some
And
people have
something that we talked
headaches,
about earlier is when you think something up, then you will actually feel it.
right?
It's not actually psychosomatic. You will actually
yeah,
feel it.
you can create
Yes,
it.
you
You
create
can.
it. Yes.
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 And so I was looking for a bar studio and happened to walk by a Pilates studio, and my friend and I poked our head, and I was like, that kind of looks interesting. Let's go in. So we went in, and we had a class. We took a class, and I was like, this is it. This is it. I absolutely love this.
Cool.
And so within about 4 months, I decided I need to get certified because I'm really not good at attending classes unless I'm the teacher.
Right.
Love
Well,
it.
I was a teacher for 22 years. I taught science and math and art.
Oh, that's really important. I forgot about that.
Wow,
Art,
right.
science, and I thought computers.
and well, yeah, I taught computers because I was
Yes. High school.
I had a degree in biology and life sciences. That's another story. And then I needed art to balance me out. I was always a
Great.
creative person, so dance is
Right
very
brain,
creative,
left
right?
brain. You got a nice thing going on.
I needed to
Isn't
balance
that
things
nice?
out, so I ended up with 2 different degrees. But when you teach, then they say, oh, well, your science background, so you had all this math. Okay, well, we need a math teacher this year.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
you're very proficient with the computers, so we need a computer teacher this year. And it was just like me
What is
bouncing
this, high
around.
school level? What is
High
it? Yeah.
school,
Mhm.
and then I moved to middle school because my kids were in middle school, so I
Yeah.
always wanted to be part of where they were
Sure.
too, to stay on top of their education. And I wanted to know about their teachers and what they were learning and what the school environment was like. So
So you worked at the same school?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, yeah, when they were real little, I had high school students who used to bring them to my classroom, and they would sit with my kids and work on the pottery wheel, because I taught pottery, I taught art.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did the design of the pottery studio, and then lo and behold, the science room,
Chetic pottery.
Yeah.
Do you remember Ray?
Did you?
Ceramics. Yeah.
The only
Ceramics
teacher he
is
never
great,
got.
right?
Yeah.
The only teacher he didn't get along with was the ceramic teacher.
Why? Because she made you clean up your
It was
mess.
No, he was just.
He was mean.
He was like the type of guy that would give people detention for like we had to have our shirt tucked in. He would give you detention if like the corner of like one little part was untucked. He was that
I
type.
can't even imagine.
He was that type of stickler that was just an asshole for the sake of it, and was like,
No, he was.
look at the rule book. Like he was one of those people.
Yeah.
But it was all just like some weird ego power trip thing, because he ended up getting fired for like hitting on a student.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so
But
respectful
there
of the
are a
rules.
lot of,
But,
I mean, I don't want to
this
say
is a funny
lot,
story.
but there
This is a
are
funny story. I want to
teachers
talk
out
about the
there.
clay. So
No, we actually probably shouldn't even be talking about this on the show at all. So
No, it's fine.
no.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
But
just
on
continue.
on your behalf, my son had a teacher who he dropped his pencil, the lead broke, he got up to sharpen it and got a detention because he was out of his seat.
So yeah, stuff like
and
that.
I'm at the school, and I go to talk to the principal, and if that's her policy, that's her policy. He called her Mrs. instead of Miss. He got a detention. So there are
Really?
teachers.
Yeah,
there are teachers out there.
It's all just the ego trip.
Yes,
Wow.
I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
control.
You're in
It
my
is.
world now, and you're gonna live by my rules.
Right.
That's
right.
kind of pathetic.
No matter how ridiculous they are.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
just showing how badly they need control, which is kind of funny to laugh at. So.
Well, I feel
can-
the same way.
yeah, you
like,
can
what
draw
happened
amusement
to you
from it,
in
yeah.
school that now you need to be this way to all these little
Yeah.
kids?
But I don't think this teacher liked boys. He only liked girls because he would give like all the boys like B's and
Why do we
C's.
need to talk about some weird teacher from like
Well, because
10 years ago?
parents out
It's
there
so
that are
irrelevant.
listening, you can question a grade that a teacher, a grade that's
And you
subjective.
should question.
Thank you.
Should.
And you should question.
And
Someday you'll have kids. You should question because, like, my mom is an artist. Our family, we have an art gallery called Gallery Andrea.
Yes.
I think you listened to that episode. And, a teacher, it is subjective. You can't, if people follow the rules of what they're supposed to do with the project, you should give everybody an A that follows all the rules.
Right.
You can't just say, oh, this one's going to get a B, this one's going to get an
No.
A.
Yeah.
And so,
Sure. And
so
as an art,
people out there, if you're listening to the show,
Yeah.
question.
I say
As a
question.
parent, question. Yeah,
Even
just-
question if it's your art project.
I agree.
Like, why did I get this? And can you explain to me what the criteria was? And if I tried my best, then how do you give me a failing grade or whatever?
Right.
Because, you have to watch a child and say, they are working on it hard. And that should be what the grade is about, is not what I think it should look like. It's yours compared to Richard's or.
It's ironic because the main thing I learned from his class is just when you see one of those people that are on a power trip, to just steer clear far
Yes,
away from
yes.
them, because there's no battling them on their grounds.
You are so right.
They will die on that hill because it's what they like. It's what they enjoy. So you just have to
That's
avoid
true.
those people like they're cancer, which is
Yeah.
what they really are. So
And feel sorry for them.
Malignant narcissists.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so thank you for
anyway.
being a
from
teacher.
teaching,
What
then
happened after
it
that?
just was like a natural progression for me to want to be a Pilates instructor because I
Okay.
like teaching.
Yeah,
And
great.
it felt, it changed me. I saw my doctor like maybe a year later, pain management specialist, and he said, "Hey, where have you been?" And I was like, "Well, I discovered Pilates and I don't need to come back now. My back is great." And it's been about 9 years.
So, do you think it's because it's so much core?
Yeah.
It's
I
all
do.
about the core.
It's all about the core. I've
So-
also strengthened those muscles in my back, around my spine. I mean, all the way around. So, yeah, it's about
I'm
that.
curious, when you were a dancer, when you're doing ballerina, you didn't know about Pilates then?
No,
Because so many dancers
I know.
do Pilates.
Yes.
Well, they do bar.
they
know,
do.
which
And
is-
I never had problems. I never had
Yeah.
rehab. So,
But Pilates popular now. I mean,
Listen, it was popular. It was popular.
she
when
looks
It
super
was
young.
popular in the
She looks like she's like
60s.
20,
When
but
Joseph
yeah.
Pilates moved to New York, his
Mhm.
studio was right next to the New York Ballet.
Yes.
And
Oh,
that's
okay.
all these ballet students started taking Pilates.
Well, they
so
were
that's
his
how
main
it,
students.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
and that's why it became known as like the dancer's exercise, where
Yeah.
it really isn't.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he created it to help soldiers
Mhm.
after World War I, and
That's
he
right.
was in an internment camp, so he was helping them through breathing, through exercise, and helping them rehab. And it was like early rehabilitation, but he
Yeah.
was doing it, and
Yeah.
he was very successful at it.
Yeah.
So one
So-
question I have is, how does Pilates differ from yoga? Because I
Great
love
question.
doing yoga.
Great
I feel
question.
like a lot of the poses are very similar.
Well, most of yoga starts from a standing position, but not all, because I took yoga for about 14 years and I really enjoyed it, and I thought, I mean,
Did that
it's
help
great
your
at
back?
it. No,
Oh, okay.
no, and downward dog was killing my neck and shoulders,
Oh,
and I didn't
yeah.
realize it, but
Yeah.
now I know it's because maybe I didn't come across teachers who taught me how to activate my core while I was doing
Exactly.
these exercises.
It's all
And
about
maybe
activating the
sometimes
core.
holding them for that long isn't really necessarily good for you,
Mhm.
especially somebody who had rotator cuff issues, and I
Mhm.
said I had shoulder and upper back. So anyhow, after I got into Pilates, I realized how much I didn't know about that kind of stuff. So my goal was not to just run people through classes, but actually to teach them how to activate the muscles that we're working and touching them and making them feel them. And
I guess we're sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I can focus on sucking in my gut
Yeah.
and my
Lift your
posture,
tails.
right?
I always say that it's like the elevator, you lift from the bottom and then up behind the belly button, and you feel it all the way up to your sternum, because your abdominal muscles come up that way. Of course, you have them coming across, so you've got to elongate the spine, you have to elongate the neck, so there's a lot to it. And you're on your show, you want to breathe properly, this helps your breathing. And I always say, when people are lying down on the reformer, pull your shoulders down, elongate your neck, make the crown of your head reach
Mhm.
away from you. And when you're extending your leg, I mean, things I learned from ballet, I learned to pull that in, I learned to tuck
Sure.
my pelvic area, and so for me all that stuff was really easy
Natural.
to get. But if you didn't ever take ballet, I have women who did soccer, or they played softball or whatever. It's totally different. You're not thinking about those, elongating your legs or tightening your inner thighs or your glutes. You just play. And that's what most people, I think, come in and they just do it. And it's like, oh, wait, stop. We're not just going to do that. A plank, for instance.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so I always make them stop. I always make them start with a bear plank, which is knees bent, knees hovering about 3 inches off the mat. And we're going to tuck our tummies now. You're going to kind of round your tailbone down. You're going to push through your shoulders. You're going to elongate. I want you to look forward. I'm telling them all these things so that I'm watching them and I can see their bodies just moving into these positions. Okay, now you can move into your plank, because now you're activating the right muscles. So I really like to slow things down, and
That's
I really
great.
like to make people
Yeah.
do it properly, and I can see right away. It's like,
And I can tell that you're good at describing it, because as you're saying that to me, I'm doing each thing you're saying and I can feel it.
yeah,
I can feel.
you should be able to feel it.
Yes.
Yes.
So you can almost do Pilates as you're sitting here.
It's true. You can. And
Sure.
when I'm on an airplane, I'm trying to do everything I can to not always sitting up, because sometimes relaxing into your spine is a good thing.
Mhm.
It's actually okay for your spine. And then, because you don't always want to sit up erect really tight, in the core and everything, because you need to relax that too. So, anyhow, it helped me. I have never gone back to get another injection. And then
So it healed your back.
it healed my back. I have to say, if I
It's
get
incredible.
even a little, well, now I have a 7-month-old grandson who's really big, and I've been through, this is the 4th one, so I'm like, please stop having babies, because I don't know how long my spine can do this, and they're all boys. So anyhow, I carry him around, I'm bouncing him, and I'm like, okay, I'm telling myself, tighten your core, all right, pull your abs in. All right, hold him, you know, like with your arms. Try not to like slump into it. And I have to talk myself through holding my grandson because I'll go home and feel like I got beat up.
So if you're activating the core and doing this
The
whole
simplest
shoulder and
things.
core and then you're using the right muscles.
I mean, simple things like you're bending over to pick something up, and I tell myself, okay, use your quads, pull your abs in. You know, I tell myself how to just bend over.
Don't you think that the reason why you're still so active though is because you continue to move? Like how you were saying, she should stop having kids. You don't know how long you're gonna be able to keep doing this. It's the opposite. The more she should keep having kids because the more you move, the more you move, the longer you'll be able to continue doing that. Like I just saw this video of like the Guinness World Records oldest gymnast, and she's 98.
I saw that too.
That was amazing, and that's 100% because she just never stopped. If she stopped at some point when she was like 87 for a few months, she would have totally lost that. It's all about consistency.
She might have and she might not have. I mean, your muscles do remember.
They
and
can.
You can gain it back, but at that age, it's
the older you are, the
harder
harder it is. Exactly. So I really think it's consistency that is like what allows people to age and stay strong.
Well, I have like 86-year-old women who drive to the studio and attend my class, and I'm like, how old are you? Okay, you are my goal because I want to be that person. I want to be whatever, 90.
My mom.
Exactly. I feel like so many people tell themselves they're too old to keep exercising when really it's the opposite. If you're still alive, you should be exercising.
Right.
Well, my grandma at 105 was still doing her walks. And
walks are so important.
And she lived alone and was thriving until a few days before she died because of her movement and her walking and her exercise.
And it's even like when you're pregnant, right? Did you exercise when you were pregnant?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I did. Well, I was teaching aerobics back in the 80s. So during college, and I taught the day I had both kids, and I remember I can't put my shoes on today. What's going on? And then I went into labor that night, and I was like, oh, that's what was going on. Like I had no idea. But all of it is so important. And you're right. I watched her, and I was like, is she truly 98? I don't know.
That was amazing. I mean, she looks 98.
She does, and I saw her on the pommel horse.
Yeah, I believe it. Because there's other outliers. Like there was that guy who won oldest barefoot water skier, and he was like 88 or whatever. Yeah, barefoot water skiing's hard no matter what age you are. Yeah.
Well,
so
Richard and I attended a 95-year-old birthday party. Not this weekend, but last weekend. Our friend Betty Boole, she turned 95, and she walks every day all the way up to the top of the mountain and back at 95. She lives alone. Her husband died last year. She doesn't live with anybody. And every day she dresses to the nines, like head to toe, like matching.
Maybe I still want to be that person,
now,
right?
You can't
if you haven't trained in years, you're not going to be able to just go out tomorrow and start barefoot water skiing. You're going to have to build up to that point if you haven't been training. But the moral of the story, though, is that if you're listening, it's not too late to start your fitness journey. It never is.
I don't think so.
You just have to be consistent and have a plan, and don't go too hard in the beginning because that will just injure you and set you back further. But 100%, everybody can start their fitness journey. It just requires consistency and desire.
But I also think
rest.
But I also
the rest is super important. Yeah.
That it's not only your fitness; it's all your
mental
mind,
really
mental. Because like Betty,
well, we
my
just
grandma,
said it's consistency. You
very
have
social,
to choose to do it
had
every
lots
day.
of friends, so you know you have to have your diet. You have
Yeah.
to be social. You know, you can't just like sit home and only exercise. You have to also have some friends and
I
eat
think
healthy.
you do. Your mental state has to be healthy as well. Yeah. I mean, everything. The way you eat, your gut bacteria.
So what do you recommend for what diet? You're very slender.
I don't.
You look great.
I don't follow a diet.
Good.
Okay.
I don't.
Good.
But
Okay.
I try to eat every day, high protein, clean protein.
Such as?
I eat eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
And I cook them in butter because butter is good for your gut bacteria.
Grass-fed butter.
Okay.
Yeah, I love butter. Yogurt, but whole milk yogurt or Greek whole milk yogurt. Try to stay away from anything that's processed.
Exactly.
Try to stay away from, like, the milk fat is good for you, whereas taking the fat out of milk is a process that causes inflammation in your body. So I don't do skim milk. I don't do
Really?
no. It's all whole.
I don't do low
Interesting.
fat. I do full fat yogurt, A2 yogurt.
Yeah.
I do
Yes.
A2.
I like the
From
A2
A2
yogurt.
cows.
Yeah.
Okay, I've
And then
never
I'll
heard of
load
that.
it with
A2
berries and
Okay. So
granola,
berries, whole yogurt,
yeah,
eggs. That's your breakfast.
eggs with like spinach and tomatoes and onions and whatever else I can find. To
Lots of
throw in.
veggies.
Yeah.
Is it organic?
Yeah, all
Okay.
organic. Yeah.
All
If I
organic.
could grow it in my yard right now, I would. I
Yeah.
did in California. I grew a lot of
You
food.
had a
Now
garden,
I'm like,
nice.
a big shock here. Everything died.
Well, you just
So
you
I'll
just bought a
learn.
house here. You bought a house here what 2 months ago? She was living in L.A. Was it Hollywood?
No, Westlake Village in north of LA.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of right in between LA and Santa Barbara, and it's
Mhm.
right above Malibu. So we're surrounded by mountains, and you got the kind of the morning fog that Malibu got. So the plants loved it, and I had hummingbird gardens and
Really?
birds, everything, butterfly gardens. Yes, I love gardening. So
Okay. Well, this is something I'm discovering on the show right now because that's very sustainable. And so you would garden what you would eat.
try to grow what I can
somewhat?
eat. Yeah,
I
somewhat,
love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can't do all of it, but
That's incredible.
tomatoes and whatever else.
So we talked about your
lettuce.
breakfast. What's your lunch and dinner typically?
Lunch would be, I'd like salad. I like salad, and I try to get a variety of fiber. So it's fruits, it's veggies, it's everything, mixed lettuce, and so anything like that. And then dinner, it depends. I like to eat, so.
What's dinner? What's dinner?
Dinner, like a steak,
Salmon?
or chicken. I love salmon, love fish.
Yeah.
And steak. We can have steak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Grass-fed.
and steak, yes, grass fed, and it's
Grass-fed beef,
it's
very
actually
healthy.
the fat is actually good for your gut. So
Yeah.
healthy
Okay.
gut means you're going
Grass-fed
to
fat.
lose weight too. So I know people think that if you eat cholesterol, that's something 30 years ago. But now the pendulum has swung the other way,
Yeah.
and it's like eggs are not causing cholesterol.
That's right.
And
It's interesting that you
Healthy
say that
fats.
because my grandma at 105, as I said, until a few days before she died, was in perfect health, perfect memory, perfect everything, lived alone, and she ate a balance of everything.
yeah,
And she
I
wasn't
try to
anything,
think
she didn't
like
eat anything low
grandparents.
fat.
What did grandparents eat?
Exactly.
And that's what I want to
Mhm.
eat.
They weren't,
Right?
because they weren't exposed to all the processed foods
Right.
and crap that
She would never
They
eat
were
anything out of
buying
the can.
TV dinners
Right.
and
Oh, never,
anything.
never.
Yeah,
She wouldn't eat
they were canning their own
DoorDash.
stuff.
No
No,
DoorDash.
no.
Putting
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
up,
no- no
right.
fast
You don't know
food.
what your stuff,
Yeah, it's
your
all
food's
junk.
being cooked in.
It's all
So
junk.
I don't eat
Yeah.
out very often because I want to know what I'm eating.
Exactly.
And so lately I've been reading about the seed oils are such a problem.
Bad. Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me why.
It's the way they process them, and there's all the chemicals in them
Yeah.
that.
So when you're getting any
they're
kind of Uber
awful.
Eats or DoorDash, it's all seed
They're
oils.
awful.
I
Even,
was-
even
I was
if they're
told.
organic and cold
Mhm.
pressed, I won't eat
Mhm.
canola oil,
Oh no,
especially.
no,
None of that.
none of
Mhm.
that. Just
Because I eat it at
olive
restaurants
oil.
that they actually have an app now that tells you what restaurants have that,
okay.
and
Oh,
I only
really?
eat it. Yeah,
Oh,
and I
good.
only eat at restaurants that.
What's the
don't have
app called?
that. I don't know. I'll look and tell you.
Okay, look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell
So
us
I
so we
learned-
can tell the viewers.
Well, I learned about it from Wendy.
Oh, so you don't actually use it.
Well, because I found out from her boyfriend which restaurants, Fox restaurants don't have it, and the Houston's groups.
We should find out what the app is called because it sounds like a
I
good
can
app.
text Wendy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, keep
All
talking.
right.
But you
I'll
can
answer.
always
Yeah, yeah, I didn't mean
Put the phone down.
Like when
Let's
I
keep
when I
talking.
go eat breakfast, I say, "Can you please cook my eggs in
Okay.
butter?" And I mean, you can see it. I'm not gonna dab my eggs with a paper towel because the grease is all over them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, "Can you please cook them in butter?" And they'll usually do it. But then, are they using real butter or the
Yeah.
canola?
And
mix?
I only eat
don't know.
grass-fed butter,
Me too.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, you have to eat at quality places or eat at home,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And the places I go, I know it's quality, and I know how they prepare things. So
And if you know that, and I mean, yeah, a lot of the places that I used to eat, we knew the chefs, we knew the owners, so we would go sit and, you know, talk about stuff.
Yes.
Bring wine into them because we were big wine people.
Yeah, you
as
can
well.
do that.
There we go.
You can do
There
that
we
in
go.
California.
Yeah,
can't-
bring wine to the
can't do it in Arizona.
restaurant owners because then they'll
Yeah.
feed you,
Yeah.
and then you know what you're eating.
That's smart.
I
Right.
love it. Become
Yeah.
best friends with the wine.
Yes,
That's
you do.
a good
you do.
strategy.
Yeah.
So back to Pilates. So Pilates healed your back and all your pains and aches. How many times a week is this process? Is
Well,
it like
I think you should do Pilates for sure 3 days a week. If you
Okay.
can only do 2 days a week, fine. That's what you can fit in, and it's all beneficial. You know?
and I know there's the reformer Pilates and then there's
Mat
you
Pilates.
mat
There's a
Pilates.
And
lot of-
TRX
Some people-
is Pilates.
Yeah. Okay.
The bar is Pilates.
So if
There's a
somebody
lot of
can't get to a
forms of-
machine, can you still do good Pilates?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like during the pandemic, everyone was locked out of the studios, right? All over the world.
Yes.
So I offered free mat Pilates online through Instagram and Facebook,
Oh,
and I
good.
had women. I had 4 women in India. I
Mm,
had
wow.
a woman
Wow.
in Germany. I had a
Cool.
woman in Canada. I had women all over the world, and it was so cool. It was like, okay, so if you don't have a mat, grab a towel. If you don't have weights, grab your bottled water.
I
Yeah.
love
You
it.
know, If
Yeah.
you don't have a ball, use a pillow.
Improvise.
So yeah, we just, and it was so cool because we'd be on Zoom and I could see everybody, and then in the beginning of class we would all talk and say what's going on where you are, what's going on in China, and they're, well, we're in lockdown, and then, well, what's going on in Canada, well, I haven't been
Wow.
out of my apartment, you know, and it was a really
Wow.
cool group of people, and I offered it for free because it's for your mental health, it's for your physical health, and you need to
You're giving back.
continue to exercise,
You're
right?
giving back. You're doing
Right,
good
and
things.
it felt good, and it was fun, and we had a really nice, you know, there'd be 22 people sometimes, there'd be less, but I also taught Pilates in the park.
I
Have
love
you
that.
uploaded those videos to YouTube? Are they
I
available
did.
on YouTube? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where can people find those?
Nowhere.
Well, what do they search
I
on
didn't make them
YouTube?
available to everybody.
Oh,
I
okay.
only made them available to people who attended the classes.
So then they're not on
because I
YouTube
wasn't
then.
trying to be a influencer.
But if they're on YouTube, then people could still find them though
They
by
could if I
searching.
give them the code for the
Oh, okay.
videos.
So they're like not publicly on
Right,
YouTube.
right,
then.
I
Okay.
didn't
So
do
if
Well, you should put some Pilates flows
good
up on
idea.
YouTube, just for like you were saying, you want people to be more fit and healthy and
That's
stuff,
true. That's
and it'd
true.
bring more people to your classes too. Because like that's where I find all of the like yoga flows I've been doing. But if there were like good Pilates flows too, I would definitely start trying them. So.
well, something,
You know-
Chet, that you don't
There
know.
probably are, and I just
You're-
haven't seen them. My algorithm's probably just putting me in the yoga direction.
Well, here's the
Right.
good news. I'm going to have her train you because she has a studio at her house.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
know
you do?
you sometimes
Yeah.
have a little bit of
That's
pain,
really
and she's got the
Mhm.
reformer, she's got everything, and then we'll have her back on the show.
That's
after
okay.
you-
She can work with you. You're the one that can't do a sit up. So.
Oh, I definitely want to work with you.
Yeah.
I thought we could do it together, the three of
But
us.
I don't do full sit-ups. Do you do full sit-ups?
I do like
I don't
full
know.
dynamic ab
Uh-huh.
cycles where there's like probably like 15 different movements. I'll do each one for like a minute and then go through again. So I like a lot of diversity with my ab movements. I like having some where it'll be like planks with reaches, so it's like focusing more on extension, and I like having some that are like, you know, some type of a crunch where I'm like holding something between my legs, so it's focusing more on
Yeah.
contraction. So like
Yeah.
I like to work both aspects of the
I do
abs
too.
because
Yeah.
hold like having the stability for extension is one half, and then being able to contract for like if you're punching somebody or
Yeah.
you know swinging a bat. It's important to have all those different aspects of mobility in the core.
And
So-
Pilates will do that for you.
Yeah,
And I
we'll
have
do that.
trained
Yeah.
golf people. I've trained baseball players.
Mhm.
I've had one football player, and
Mhm.
he really struggled with the core stuff.
Mhm.
So that, I mean,
Well, they're
sports
so
are
good
getting
at-
into it now.
Football players are so good at moving weights in a
Yeah.
direction, but if you have them do something like
Right,
a
like holding their feet up. And
like a side plank where they're having to like balance with something else,
Yeah.
they're like all of a sudden it's difficult.
it's
So-
it's a whole different thing.
So
But
how,
then
how do you
they
feel
can bench
about
500 pounds.
doing that sit-up? So if you're laying all the way down and you like try to like sit all the way up,
She's talking about
think it's
I
incline.
gotta do that.
back.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I think
I
if you
agree.
don't
Thank you.
have a really strong core,
Thank you.
Yeah.
should not be doing those
Yeah.
Thank you.
because you can injure yourself.
I don't like it. Thank
right,
you.
and if you don't like it, don't do it. I mean,
Okay. It hurts me.
If it hurts you, don't do it. And that's
Okay.
something I will always say in my classes. I'll have 12 students on
Because
the
everyone's
reformer.
different.
So
Everyone's different. You have to honor your body. You have to feel how you feel. Every day could be different.
Okay, what about the debate of people who are letting themselves get weak to a point where it's almost dangerous because they're babying themselves, like not pushing themselves to do
I
exercises?
think they need a change mentally.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people
You-
can do something like a
Right.
partial crunch or something,
Look
and
at
they
this.
stop.
Look at this.
And they stop because of the basically the burn in the muscle, and they
Right,
try to.
and they don't want to feel pain.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
so it's really important to have the mental toughness to push through some exercises, especially if you're going from like trying to get back to a basic level of strength.
Yes.
It's not going to be comfortable. If you're super weak and you're getting back to that basic level of strength, it's not going to be easy.
Well, you to me sound like you push through stuff and you're okay with that. I find there are always people who come into the studio and they haven't worked out maybe forever, and this is the first time they walk in, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, but it hurts. Oh, yes, it's gonna hurt, but I don't want you to feel hurt where you're gonna hurt yourself. I want you to walk tomorrow. I want you to walk in 2 days from now, because sometimes you don't feel it for another day. But baby steps, you know. Okay, so I had a woman that I trained in California who she had spine scoliosis, and things were painful for her. So I like doing research, and I had to do a lot of research to find out what can I do for her to help her strengthen those muscles to kind of, no, I'm not going to straighten her spine out, but I am going to strengthen those muscles where the weaknesses are.
Yes.
And so you have to work for, I mean, that's the beauty of being a private Pilates instructor, whereas when there's 12 people in class, I'm used to teaching 36 kids.
Yes.
I actually saw a
So-
video on, it was like a reel that was on YouTube of somebody talking about their scoliosis getting fixed by a crazy percentage through Pilates exercise. Yeah, like, oh my God, I forget what the original angle their back was at, but it fixed it by more than 50%. It was incredible. And it was because beforehand they had been telling themselves, oh, I'm too weak.
Yes.
I'm too deformed. I'm not able to do this stuff.
Something.
It took them mentally pushing through that pain, because it hurt.
Right.
As they're fixing their spine, that hurts the whole way.
It hurts the whole way for them, and you know, you have to be careful.
Yeah, so it takes sometimes getting back to a basic level of strength and a core stability. It's going to be a painful journey, but you're going to just, if you want to get there, it's going to take pushing through it sometimes.
Well, Richard and I are going to be doing some classes with her, so we can have her back in a month or a month and a half, and we can talk about the progress. And hopefully you'll join us too, because she lives very close to where you live.
Oh, and when you were asking me about like sit-ups, I don't think that they're necessarily a good exercise, but I think everybody should have the physical capability to get up without using their hands.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not something you should do as a regular exercise, but it's an important functional strength.
Well, how important is it when you're aging?
Oh, it's
and
vital.
Just like I have people just sit on the reformer and stand up, because that is a
look
function
do you want to see how good I can
without
squat?
using your hands.
Oh,
Look at this. I can
See how your spine is not straight? You're not using your core right now. No, you're not. No, your form's not good.
Show me a better
That was
form.
ironic,
But you have
actually.
to tell her she's doing great, because she is doing great, you know?
She's attempting, but she's not succeeding in executing the squat with proper form.
So then
Instead of using your glutes to pull your spine back, you're basically sitting into your hip flexors, which is actually making your entire problem, it's exacerbating the problem. This shows why if you're doing exercises improperly, you can literally be reinforcing the wrong muscles.
Right.
Yes.
Form is everything.
I actually know this because I have tight hips. I have to warm up my hips and my glutes for about 10 minutes before I'm ready to squat with proper form.
So what do you think about the Pilates for tight hips?
Tight hips, it's great. I mean, we're doing leg circles, we're strengthening, we're stretching. So you're.
What do you mean by circles? What is that?
Lying on the reformer and you're.
Oh, yes.
Yes, giant leg circles,
Yes.
right?
You have basically like almost like a jump rope or like some kind of a rope or some kind
You
of a,
have
what do
the
you call that
straps
thing?
on your feet,
Straps.
the
The
cables.
straps.
Yeah.
The cables, the
cables.
springs.
Yeah.
you know,
And you're going like
Everything.
this, and it's giving
Yeah.
you resistance.
Right, but you're also working your core as you're doing it. Every
Yeah.
time your legs are starting to lower, you got to tighten your core to,
Have you done
hold
that,
your
Jeff?
legs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've done
Where
Pilates?
have you done it?
Well, no, I
He
do.
hasn't done
I do
it.
those exact cable ab exercises at the gym. You can attach the cables to your ankles. So.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
But you haven't
I
done
see that.
Pilates. It's
It
different.
is kind of Pilates, I guess.
Well,
if
so
you're
it's
doing
interesting.
that.
I took a Pilates 101
Really?
class in high school, and we definitely were doing more yoga. It was 100% like.
It's the teacher then.
Yeah,
Matt
exactly. The
Pilates.
teacher thought we were doing Pilates,
Yeah.
but
Matt
looking back on it, it was
But there-
100%
There's
yoga.
a lot of the same exercises.
Yeah. Okay, see,
or
that's why it's so
exercises
confusing,
that
too.
cross over.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
we were doing
I
a
find-
hybrid, I guess.
Right,
Some
I
yoga,
find that
some
with
Pilates.
like some of my Pilates classes when I'm doing mat, I like to do a lot of yoga stretches, but I'll call them by their yoga names so that they know this is actually a yoga pose, and this is how we do it.
Mhm.
But this is now how I want you
So-
to feel it.
But the big difference between yoga and Pilates is what?
Well, Pilates you can do on the reformer. Pilates is going to be. I think yoga is more stretching. If I had to say, and
Well,
it's going to be
there's
more.
different types of yoga too
There
that are very
is,
different from one
yeah.
another.
There is strengthening
You
yoga
know.
and very vigorous yoga, which
Mhm.
can
But there
be
are
hard.
some similarities. I do Pilates 5 or 6 days a week, and I have for 6.5 years
That's wonderful.
at Club Pilates. You're familiar with Club Pilates, right?
Which
And,
one do you go to?
Well, I'm part of a franchise. The club I joined originally is on 30 Indian School on 38th Street, Arcadia.
Was that owned by Keith and Yvette? when
It
you-
was when I joined.
But we only
I
have
was
4
a
minutes
founding-
now.
I was a founding member, yeah.
Okay.
With 4 minutes left,
So
I
you
want to
know
talk
Kit
about.
and Yvette?
I
Get
do
outta here.
personally. Yeah.
Throwback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great, but we only have 4 minutes now, and so I want to close out with what if somebody's going to become a beginner in Pilates? What should they do? Number one. Number two, what are your goals? And number three, you're getting us started. What do we need to do to so we can do the next show with how we're going to be all trim and.
It takes a while. Well, I think if you're a beginner and you're starting.
I'm trying to get you to Pilates
I know, but
for
with
3
her, I
years.
can do it. With her, I can do it. So tell us.
Well, if you're starting out, I think, like you said, you should go on YouTube and find some videos of beginner Pilates moves because people make the mistake of trying to jump right in, and I can't do it. It's too hard. But beginner, and try a class out. Like you said, Club
Pilates is a good place to start.
There's a lot of Reform Pilates. There's a lot of places around.
And one thing that you brought up, sorry to interrupt you, but it's really important for people to like loosen up their upper back before they start. Like you were talking about how when you were doing yoga initially, how downward dog was messing you up. If you had started with like rolling out your upper back so that area was properly mobile, you probably could have hit the pose in the right way.
And if somebody were telling me how to hit the pose properly.
100%. So
it's teachers.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. And so to guide people in the best direction possible, loosen up a little bit before you do one of those beginner videos, because if you're like really tight in a certain spot in your upper back.
But if it's a beginner video, they should be warming you up
That's
what
and
you're doing.
stretching you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a lot of them don't have you start with rolling out on a foam roller, and for me, that's sometimes the only way I can hit knots in my upper back.
Yeah, breaking up the fascia.
Yeah, exactly. You get so tight from sitting and hunching over, basically.
Yeah, well, that's where it's great. If you work at a desk or you sit in a car or you're on your phone, you're always in that position, but it teaches you to pull and strengthens those muscles in the neck, the upper back, the shoulders, the whole body.
But yeah, I've noticed because a lot of beginners yoga or Pilates videos will have you try to hit cat-cow. And if you haven't foam rolled beforehand, you can't even hit the cow pose at all.
Well, you can, but
really?
maybe it's harder for you.
Oh,
Maybe you're tighter there.
Yeah.
But yeah, cat-cow is a great place to start. And especially it's pre-planking. So it's good stretching and even kind of strengthening. But
so what do we need to do to get started with you? We need to, what should we do at home before to prepare?
That's what she was answering, is doing the beginner video.
I don't think, so don't do anything at home. Let me assess you. Let me
Okay.
see where you are. Let
We'll
me see
come
where your
over.
strengths and your weaknesses are
Okay.
and what you need to work on.
Okay.
Because you might be strong in some areas but weak in other areas, so it's easier for me to see you and to run you through some things to
So the three of us will come over and let's see who's stronger, because I think I could be stronger than Chet. And he thinks he's talking.
Look at
He's
Chet.
trash talking
He's
me. Let's see. I challenge
Yeah.
him. Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see.
try.
You can't even
try
do a
your best.
plank. You
We'll
can't
see.
even do a
Yes, I
plank.
can. We'll see. I can
Yeah.
do it.
Well, and you have to stick to it. You have to give it 3 or 4 months of consistent working out, and
Okay.
don't make excuses, right?
And then we'll
You-
show
you
the
got-
results on the show.
you have to be there.
See, here we are right now. Let's see what
We're
happens.
not bodybuilding, okay? This is not bodybuilding.
You'd be good at it.
Yeah.
Well, thank
yeah.
you so much for this
was
wonderful
fun.
time with you, and
Yeah.
we're excited to keep learning and growing and
Yeah.
getting stronger. With
Well,
you and
I
Pilates.
have a fun ab challenge. It's one that I do if I have less than 10 minutes and I like want to get a good little ab workout in. I put on the song "Kashmir" by Led Zeppelin because it's one of my favorite workout songs of all time. Those
Love
guitar
it.
chords, the guitar chords are so epic. And then I hold a plank in some form for the full. It's about an 8-minute song, but I hold either a side plank,
I
a
love that.
front plank. If I get really tired, then I'll go and do like basically a hyperextended glute bridge. Like,
Okay.
so I'm basically planking in some way the whole
For 8
song.
minutes.
But yeah, so that's a fun challenge. It takes less than 10 minutes. And if you're a beginner and you can't stay up for the full song, once you hit that point where you have to quit, then just go onto your back and do some like crunches or some, pelvic curls or something like that.
Well, I have to say, when I was in California, my older client, he was 78, 79, and he did a 4.5 minute plank, and the women were jealous.
That's
So
impressive.
it became our challenge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, without
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
without
hold
working,
on.
without working up to that, right?
But he won
He
a
just-
competition for holding the plank
For how
against
long?
some expert. What was your
38.5 minutes.
That's impressive.
Oh, okay, that's almost
No.
No, it's not.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
He-
that's
That's wild.
serious.
But, and he was second. He didn't win. What happened?
Oh, we're...
Okay, don't tell that story. So
Were
anyway,
you able to shift or did
Oh,
you
yeah,
have to hold?
shifting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so it became our challenge.
tune in next
along
time
with, the other
with Annette
women.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Saving the planet
One
one
show
show
at
at
a
a
time.
time.